First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. This is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. As always, we appreciate you joining us. We are live streaming here from the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. That is what you see behind me. We're here every weekday, starting 1 p.m., going throughout the afternoon. We cover a wide range of topics, including getting to talk about amazing performances and things that you can go see yourself. As you know, the Oregon Symphony is world-renowned in its own right, certainly one of the great symphonies that we have here. And on top of that, they also frequently have performances with other world-renowned musicians, and that's what we're talking about today. I'm talking about Lindsey Stirling, who is going to be performing with the Oregon Symphony on June 18th. Lindsey, it is so good to have you here on the show. I appreciate it. Your backdrop looks very lovely. I just got to say, I'm pretty sure I heard birds chirping at some point when you came on. So
I love sitting outside because, like, I can hear, like you said, the birds. Like, it was just drizzling some rain, so it's a beautiful day here in Nashville.
Nice, perfect. Well, let's talk about this performance. You know, I'm always interested to know how this comes about, like these pairings like this. And, you know, I guess, how were you approached by the Oregon Symphony, or what made you want to do this?
You know, we set out to try to, like, I don't know, almost as like an experiment. We're like, let's arrange some of my music for symphonies, and kind of just, you know, it was actually originally just supposed to be one show. It was going to be with the Colorado Symphony at Red Rocks. But then other symphonies started to kind of catch word that this was happening. And I was really honored that it was something that other symphonies were like, actually, we would love to be a part of this as well. And so, especially because that's a world I came from. It's like being in symphonies all growing up is what honed my craft as a artist and as a player, and it's what inspired me to want to play the violin as a child, was actually going to a symphony concert. And so it's truly, like, I can't even say, it's such an honor that symphonies would want to play with me.
So it's almost like going back to your roots, really.
It really is. It really is.
Well, for something like that, you know, because, I mean, that may be your roots, but obviously your performances are, you know, so elaborate and unique in the way that you've gone on to do that. What has it taken to maybe change that back just a little bit, or figure out how to fuse that with your original symphony route?
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's going to be really cool, like my two worlds combining, like the artist that I've become mixed with like the roots of the training it took to get me there. You know, and I won't be having like aerial apparatuses in the show, you know, so it's going to be a very different type of show. But at the same time, it's like I can't take away the kind of performer I am, the way I pixie around stage, and like you know, movement is so much a part of the way I perform. But this time it gets to be combined with like I don't know, it's hard to describe to someone who hasn't seen a symphony show what it feels like. Right. With the reverberations that you feel are very different from, like, you know, electronic synths, which are cool and make their own kind of sound. But like when you're hearing like actual wooden and brass instruments all playing together, all reverberating at their own unique frequencies, it creates this like incredible sound that is unlike anything else. And to get to go take my songs that I wrote and to reimagine them with like a whole different palette of paintbrushes and colors, like suddenly I'm painting with flutes and, you know, trombones instead of just like, what synthesizer should we put with this? You know, it's just a whole new experience. It's been really fun to reimagine my music, and I just think people are going to be really blown away by this combination.
Yeah, I mean, and it is, you know, you're working with, the symphony may kind of act as one, but that's still a whole bunch. I don't even know how many people are in the Oregon Symphony, quite honestly, but, you know, tens, dozens of people that you're going to be performing there with on that stage. So when you're rehearsing, how do you go about rehearsing for something like that?
Well, I have to just say, like, well, we're all going to kind of divide and conquer, you know, like I get an afternoon to rehearse with them, but I will have been rehearsing on my own. And I just have to say, like, a shout out to the kind of caliber of the musicians in the Oregon Symphony. They are so talented and so good that they have the ability to basically sight read. So they will get all this music, they'll look at it ahead, I'm sure, and like, but I mean, just from my experience of working with orchestras in the past, like, they have the ability to literally, they've honed their craft so well in that classical regiment that they can literally look at the page and play it. Like, it's incredible. And so they've been preparing for this their whole lives, just through the practice that it's taken to be able to do that. And so I have absolute faith that they're going to knock it out of the park because of that.
Yeah, I mean, everybody here is world class, you know, as far as the musicianship. So yeah, I guess that's something that, you know, to me from an outside perspective, I'm like, this is so monumental, like a huge task to try to overcome. But you guys are all, yeah, very, very good at what you do.
They are pros. Like, yeah, they're world renowned for a reason. And like I said, I'm just extremely honored to get to play with world-class musicians like this.
Yeah.
You know, it's an honor.
Well, when you travel around so much and go into a city like this, I don't know if you've been to Portland before, if you've had much time to explore here, but will you have time to go out into the city?
I will, you know, it depends on the tour and how exhausted or energized I am. I do like to go wander around cities. I've had multiple days wandering around Portland. You know, I fell in love with Salt and Straw when I think the first time I went there, and now it's, you know, it's spreading around the country. There was one near my house when I lived in LA. But I originally fell in love with the food scene, which is incredible in Portland. I know there's like an area of food trucks that I've made it to several times when I've toured through. Like, I remember the grilled cheese food truck in particular, for some reason that like hit a core with me, my cheese loving self. So I would say, I think my strongest like connection to Portland is a foodie girl who loves that city, but also it's just beautiful. Anytime I've come to Oregon, I'm just like, I could come here to live a portion of life. I could do that.
Yeah, I mean, and it's, you know, you're going to be coming at the right time of year too, because it won't be probably pouring down rain. So yeah, June, middle of June is a good time to do that. Well, for everybody who is out there and who's going to be coming down to the show here to the Schnitz in Portland, you know, what would you want them to take away from the performance, this specific kind of performance with the Oregon Symphony?
You know, I feel like, I don't know. It's like, I feel like anytime I step on stage, my goal is that I really want people to believe in themselves. Like, I want them to see me as a person up there on stage that's just a little archetype of whatever their dream is, because just thinking about my career and my life and how I've gotten to the place I'm at, music for me is a storytelling tool to get to like share just a piece of that story. And so I always hope that someone comes and they just are like, if that girl can do it, so can I. Like, I'm just a person. I'm just an average human. And so that's always my greatest hope. And I just, honestly, I think back to like little tiny Lindsay, whose parents took her to a random orchestra show. And I walked out of there saying, I want to play the violin. And so who knows what people will walk out of any show, but particularly this one with so many talented musicians. And, you know, hopefully something I say or something I do or something they do will inspire a child or an adult to say, I can do something like that.
Well, what advice would you have, for the young Lindsay out there who could be coming to this show? Maybe it's their first show going to a symphony and they get to see this performance. Like, if they decide like this is something I want to do, I guess what advice would you have for them for pursuing that?
I would say just have fun with the ride. You never know where like a violin lesson or a dance lesson or, you know, there's very prescribed, I guess, formulas to all the arts and all the paths you can take in life, because there's certain ways that have proven that it works. But never be afraid to just like enjoy the journey and find out that maybe there's actually a million ways that it could work, and your journey, your version doesn't have to look like anybody else's.
Well, I mean, yours certainly doesn't, and obviously has worked out pretty well and successful, and people are going to have a chance there on June 18th to come see you at the Schnitzer with the Oregon Symphony. And, you know, I really appreciate you having time to join us today, too, and continue relaxing in that beautiful spot that you have right there with the birds chirping. And yeah, Lindsay, thanks for talking to us, and looking forward to seeing you here in Portland.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys soon.
All right, thanks so much. And for everybody watching, again, we are live streaming here. We've got more coming up throughout the afternoon, tons of programming. So whatever platform you're on, thanks for finding me there. Download the Fox 12 Oregon app. You can watch live or after the fact and share these segments. We'll take a quick break. Talk to you soon. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.